Market update time. Let's get straight into it. Do not place a trade based on what you're seeing in this video today, because trading is risky and it can cause substantial financial loss. There are so many areas you need to become good at to become a good trader. Emotional mastery, chart reading, trading systems, money and trade management. So this video is just educational only to help you become a much better trader. Oh my goodness. I started talking to the microphone. It wasn't even recording. Anyways, let's have a look at the Nasdaq and the Russell. Just a quick little update to show you what I see. Let's have a look here on the let's go with the Nasdaq first here. Nasdaq, one thing I've noticed with the Nasdaq is look at that increase in volume. Every single day we've got more and more and more and more volume coming into this thing. That is quite interesting, guys. Really, really, really interesting. If I take everything off the screen here for a minute, let me squeeze this up here. Let me see if I'm missing something. Let's actually go back to that weekly chart here. And you know what? Let me change that weekly chart because I just see things so much clearer with my open, highlight, close. We're gonna go one color. I'm gonna go black. There we go. Cool. All right. So let's actually do some analysis here. Let me actually delete everything off the screen here. I'm gonna start from scratch. What's really going on here? Now I'm pretty sure I see what I'm pretty sure I know what I see on the overall. So that's definitely a trend line going through there, isn't it? Actually, this point through here is where I'm looking at. So if we go from that point through there, there's obviously something going on through there, isn't there? There's something. Am I missing something through there? So that through there, and then obviously we have that through there. So that to me is definitely a trend line, and maybe just down just slightly. There we go. So I'd have that. That's definitely a trend line that the market has respected and respected continuously. So you can see how it broke down through there. That's obviously the longer term trend line here. We do have something going on. What does a monthly chart look like? Monthly chart. Yeah, even the monthly chart's quite weak as well too. So, because I'm looking at this lower trough, lower peak, lower peak. We should get a lower peak here real soon. So that weekly chart is there. Let me actually squeeze my chart up a little bit more now. Let me just draw some trend lines. All right, so I'm going to draw from there to there, and you can see, bam, there we go, from there to there. And so that's an area of resistance. I'm just making sure that I'm not missing on anything here. We have top area of resistance and support, which probably is around about there somewhere. So that's the major double top on the weekly chart. You have this low through here, and we have now major lower low. And if I connect my low to that point through there and that point through there, you can see that's where it's at right now. That's basically the trough, and I'm looking at that as 2 points now, guys. So this point down here, and then obviously this point up through here. Now this is a weekly line. It's gonna look a bit different on the daily charts. Don't know why they do, but it's gonna look different on the weekly charts. So we have that there. So very interesting, guys. So we had this support through here, had a major support through here, and you can see how that, or is the line up through there more? I think actually the line's up through there more, because as you can see, if I just drew that trend line through there, we had all that support through there, we bounced off there, and then we came down. You can see how close through there, and then we rejected it off there. So that trend line there for me is more relevant than anything else. Now, just keep in mind, guys, it's very important to understand is that on this weekly chart, we have this low and we have this lower low on the weekly chart with a double top formation. So that's really important to keep an eye on when you're looking at the bigger picture. Oh, my software's doing that thing again, isn't it? Let's go. Goes, here I go again. You guys probably have no idea what's going on, but I just had to restart my software and I was just singing that song. I've made up my mind. I ain't wasting no more time, because here we go again. I think that's, who sang that? Put a comment down below who actually, what's that? I made up my mind. I ain't wasting no more time, but here we go again. Here we go again on my own. Going down the only road I've ever known. Hey, if you guys know what I'm talking about, leave a comment below and let me know what you, who am I singing right there? Anyway, back to the charts. So we have that major lower trough, okay? Major lower trough on the weekly chart. This is really, really, really important, guys. That lower trough is a telltale sign. We have a double top and a lower trough. Guys, there is nothing bullish about that, okay? If the market was pushing that higher trough, then I'd say we're likely to continue higher, but there's nothing bullish about this. Now, if I bring up my trend lines here, and I show you that, I bring up now my daily chart, and this is what the daily chart looks like. Then again, there's nothing bullish about what we see here. So if you have a look at this chart overall, you can see that for me, guys, if you have a look at, let's actually do this here. Let me do a black pen. I think I did this yesterday as well too. So if you do your analysis like that, this is what's happening so far. So guys, I'm expecting this market, even if it runs up a little bit more from here, just a little bit more, but then rolls over. That's just what I see, guys. I see that forming, and whether it takes a day or whether it takes a week from now, I really do see that happening. It's such a clear picture to see when that sort of stuff happens and just breaks down. It's just like, wow, you know, it's that peaks and troughs is definitely a key thing for me. So looking at that, guys, it looks really, really interesting to see there. Plus also, let's actually have a look here. What I'm noticing here too, guys, is that I'm noticing too that on this chart where it is right now, again, it's important to obviously take these small little these peaks and troughs, but you've got to take the big picture in context. Okay, so this big picture in context is what? And this is just plain analysis. Lower trough, lower peak, and this still is a lower peak. If we break above 5,000 on the Nasdaq, I can no longer say this is bearish, right? It's just a matter of fact. We've had this major lower peak, major lower trough, and a major lower trough, and we've just been having, hovering around through here. Now, the real interesting thing, guys, I want you guys to notice is this: is if you look at the Nasdaq and you look at the last time we had basically a big run up, what actually happened through there? Let's have a look at this here. So let me bring up my eclipse. We actually had this high. We had that one high. We came up, made a high trough. We ran up, basically made a double top, came down, basically double bottom, and then we made a 50% rise, and then we crashed. Right, 50% rise, and then we came down. So what happened here? We ran up. So we ran up. Let's go this one here. Let me actually just bring this down a little bit. Let's go to 5. All right. So to 5, there we go. It's not as thick. All right, so we have that one point, which is that same point there. We ran down there, which is that same point there. We ran up, which is this same point up here. We've now ran down, which is this same point here. And now we're getting that 50% rise. Is the next phase, which to me, guys, it's saying that. The short term, which is the small little peaks and troughs, and the bigger picture saying we're likely to head down from here. Now, the Dow and the S&P they're not saying that as clear. Now, they still are getting that lower peaks and lower troughs, but the Dow and the Nasdaq are not saying it as clear as the Nasdaq. And that's why, like, guys, I'm so much more bearish on the Nasdaq, the QQQ, than I am the SPY, by the way. Yeah, because the charts, right? It's just basic charts. So you said it there. So is the next phase this here? Is that the next phase through there? Right? We got the exact same higher peak, higher trough. And as you can see, if I just bring up my pen and I bring up, say, a blue, we have 1, 1, 2, 2. We have this 3, 3, 4, 4, and this was 5, as you can see, and this was 5 over here. So this is the exact same formation as it happened here before we had the move down. So not only that, but you can see, that chart, we're getting the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on and so forth, right? So you can actually see that, that through there. So you can see, and this is supposed to be a 2, by the way, 2. And let me just do this here, just quickly. All right, cool. So not only that, guys, but if I squeeze my chart up as much as possible, okay, if I squeeze my chart up as much as possible, now I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna go back to what I was showing you guys before. But it's so critical, guys, to see this in a bigger picture formation. All right, a bigger picture formation. And what is that? Not only are we getting that from that last peak, but what else are we getting? We're getting this, right? Remember, I'm going to go through this again. We made this higher trough, but we made this lower trough. We made this higher trough, but we made this lower trough. Or maybe that's the higher trough through there, either one. Then we made this lower trough. This is where it all starts, right? This major lower trough. This is where it all starts. And then we rally up and we have that small little double top, and then we rally down. And then we rallied up, and then we have this small little double top, and then we rallied down. And then we rallied up, and then we rallied up. And then we had a little rally down and a little hook up. And then we rallied down, and now we're getting the hook up. How identical is that to that? Bingo, right? Bingo. Identical, identical, identical. So you're seeing this here being like this over here. Like it's basically identical what's happening right now. It is speaking to us what is happening. But not only that, guys, but when you start to get this formation lining up with this formation almost exactly, it's like, come on now. It's like when you start to notice these patterns, it's like, hang on a minute. There is nothing bullish about these charts. If we were making higher peaks, higher troughs, bouncing off support and so on and so forth, then yes, you'd have to change bullish. And there's no doubt about that. But there is nothing. Let me do this here right now. Let me go red. There is nothing about this chart that says bullish. The long term, which means these major swings highs, and the shorter term, which means the last couple of months. Do you see that? Okay, cool. So let's actually go to the Russell. Where are you, Russell? There you are. So the Russell, what does the Russell say? Now the Russell is a bit different. Let's have a look at this here. Now, you know what? Let's just go to the line chart, because the line chart spells it. Actually, you know what? Let's go to that open highlight close chart. Bam. Here we go again on my own. So the Russell, like I was saying to you guys before, I did think the Russell had a lot of upward movement, but the Russell's got almost to its trend line. Almost. Now we have a lot of trend lines through here, don't we? We have a lot of support line there. That wasn't even a support line, so it didn't even react, and I got to delete that. So I think that trend line is more up through there. And that's basically it through it. So you can see it came down, but now we're at the top of this trend line, right? And now we're flowing down a little bit more. Now what we do have is, one thing I just noticed is that we do have a possible trend line coming down through here now. And so that's basically maybe something through there. If I go to my line chart will be able to help me identify that a lot better. So let's go to this line chart. Let me bring on all my trend lines. And yeah, so my line chart will help me do this a lot better. So we're getting into this overall area of a couple of areas now, guys. On the Russell, we've seen that we actually have this whole level through here, and this trend line that's coming up through here as well too. Hello, what happened there? So we've got that point through there, and that point through there, right? So that's what we have. So the Russell's getting into this area of, potential rejection where it is right now. And if that's the case, this is likely to start doing this from now on. So That's what I see, guys, on the Russell. The Russell's not as weak as the Nasdaq is. The Nasdaq, to me, is a very, very, very clear sign. We're not getting that sign on the Russell. But bear in mind, guys, and keep in mind, look at this chart through here. If we cannot race to new highs and break above this high up here on the Nasdaq, on the Russell, if we cannot get here and continue breaking above that resistance line there, which is 116 on this mini Russell chart. If we cannot break above that, and we simply then hold here, then we're likely to create a lower trough through there and start to head down. Now, bear in mind, guys, this is the small picture. This is the small little picture. What is the big picture telling us? The big picture is telling us major peak, lower peak, lower trough, lower peak. You cannot get away from this major big picture here. It is bearish. The long term is bearish. That's why I'm happy staying bearish. But there is a time when the charts will start turning bearish if we start doing what? Major higher peaks, major higher troughs. We start stepping higher. That would be the key for me to say, cool, we are now ready to start changing trend. Now, what would that trend, as you can see over here, right? If you look over here, we had this peak, we had this trough. It was actually a lower trough, and then we ran up and made a double top, and then we made a high trough, and then we made a lower peak, and then we made a lower trough. It's like, oh, look, sellers in control. A market runs up, creates, look, what's this? A high peak, and then creates high trough, and then the market starts running up. This here, guys, this will be the sign that I'll be looking for, something like this on this chart here, to say we're now changing trend. And as you can see, right, when the trend, and we started confirming that higher trough, this was the very first time we had a higher peak, higher trough combination for quite some time, right? Because we had a higher trough and then a lower peak, and then we had this lower peak and a lower trough, but then it ran up and it failed through there. So again, guys, I'm watching this higher peak, higher trough. Look at this, higher peak, higher trough, breaking past, high peak, high trough, breaking past, high peak, high trough, breaking past. Right, so it continued to break past these levels through here. So that's what I'm looking for on the Russell and the Nasdaq. I'm not going to BS you here. Trading is hard. Over my 10 years of trading, I've learned some amazing systems and strategies, and I've put it all in my brand new Grab the Markets by the Balls course. And I'm giving you 100% free access. This whole course is 12 videos long and almost 10 hours of the best systems and strategies that I know. Click on the image below now to get 100% free access right now.